What's going on, everybody? This is Clark Beckham, former runner-up of American Idol, and you're watching the Idol Breakdown. This is the first episode of Hollywood Week. I've been looking forward to this. We have, once again, a jam-packed show with so many contestants. We're gonna fly through them. Unbelievable talent. Every year, there are contestants that watch these reviews. So the following message is for the contestants. Generally speaking, I would say don't watch these. It's really cool that you guys watch these or care about this at all or would spend any time watching this stuff. But overall, it is in your best interest if you do not watch people review or share their opinion on what you do, because in your position, you have some of the best coaches in the world working with you on Idol. You have plenty of opinions. Some could say too many opinions being thrown at you already, from producers to coaches to family to friends, all these other people. And then, God forbid, you actually look in forums and comments from just random people. Do not do that, especially. If you are watching this, because I want to hear an honest, I want honest feedback, DM me. I've talked to several of you already and would be happy to talk to anybody. If you want feedback, I can give it way better directly than you just watching this to get feedback. So those are my thoughts. Last thing I'll say, if you do decide to continue to watch this, my responsibility is to give an honest opinion in these videos. It is not solid gold. It is just my opinion. That's going to have a lot of great things to say, and it's going to have some negative things to say, or I wouldn't be doing my job. Your responsibility is to make sure to protect yourself. And if you wouldn't be okay with me saying, wow, that person was awful, you should not watch any of these. You shouldn't watch these. You shouldn't watch any reviews. Just keep yourself away. It's your responsibility what you watch. Okay? Okay. That being said, I'm about to tear apart the Platinums. Platinums. Okay, I'm not about to tear them apart. I hated the performance. You might be surprised by that. The Platinum thing was, for me, was just full of look what I can do, look what I can do, look what I can do, look what I can do. And I didn't feel any of it. I think it plays into this idea that what we want is we want some singers, man. Come on, rip it, let's go. Ripping it, void of message or emotion, is musical. I want to say a word that is probably not appropriate to say. It is all for yourself and not actually serving anybody except, wow, the head, the brain is stimulated, but the heart remains untouched. That is the counterfeit of music. So I'm sure I can see it now. They're like, all right, Platinums, we want you to do a song together. You're all monster singers and who run like crazy and have huge ranges and can sing. Let's do something where it just right off the top shows these people who they're messing with and kill it. Come on, kill it. Come on, kill it. And behind that, you feel like you're being pushed to just do as much as you possibly can. Unfortunately, the result is in the people who are reacting are like, wow, that's incredible and runs, am I right? But I didn't feel anything and it didn't do anything for me. And I actually detested the whole performance. And I really don't necessarily hold it against the Platinum singers, Colby, Philo, and Kanan, as much as I would as if it was their own solo performance. And also what it did was, this is already an issue in Hollywood Week. You're a singer, you're a contestant, and then you see, inevitably, there are all these monster gospel singers. And you hear them go, oh man, I have to sing high and try runs. No, you don't, no, you don't, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. In fact, if you try to do those runs and that's not your bread and butter, you will condemn yourself to being cut. You will have no chance. It's so frustrating to hear. And I've worked with a couple contestants over the years and even this season that have told me like, well, man, Like, I can't run like them. Like, I can't belt like them. It's like, yeah, so says every superstar artist about their background singers. Who cares? You have to tell the story and you have to offer what you have artistically. And this platinum performance set us all up for this Look What I Can Do special, which is not music. Okay, moving on. Brianna. Ooh. Good Lord. We got a lot of church in this episode. Like a lot of church. Not just like gospel-y, come on, sang church, but like elevation worship. People raising their hands, hand to the heart worship. It's like congregational worship stuff, which was cool. She sings You Say, which is a song that we've heard a lot, Lauren Daigle. And the same thing happened in her audition for me that happened here. She started and I was just kind of neutral. It's like, okay, all right. And then she hit the chorus and it was like, boom, superstar. And they even led the show with it. If she can get the verse to be as good or as special as the choruses that she sings, or her belting voice, she will be a superstar. But right now, the verses are flat, not in pitch, in emotion, not even in emotion. They're just not doing anything for me until she gets to the chorus, and then she's killing it. Shay.
And I made some bad times. Go on now. Stages. Woo. 10,000 people.
Man, this is how you sing. With runs and tone. You sing with care. There are a lot of monster singers that have Maseratis as engines. There are only 2 or 3 people who know how to drive those Maseratis. And Shay is one of them. The tone that he brings, he sounds like Danny Goki, Elliot Yamin here. The dude knows how to use the tools that he has. And I loved at the end of his audition, or at the end of this performance when he's walking out, he said either to his girlfriend or wife or sister or somebody, he said, oh man, the nerves are gone. And I remember you're so nervous. And then when you really have a killer performance, you're like, okay, I'm past that. That felt great. I feel like I'm in my element. For me, it was top 36, Georgia on my mind. I was terrified in my audition. I was terrified in Lines of 10, which is what it was when I was on. And then I was a little less scared for group. And then I was a lot less scared for solo. And then top 36, Georgia on my mind, I was just wide open, no fear, no nerves. They just gone away. And then it was that way for the rest of the season. Shay gets that. They all get that at some point. By the way, everyone finds where it's like, nerves are gone. I shouldn't say all, most. And the fact that Shay found that already, that he's there now, is so great because he murdered it. It's beautiful. I love his tone. It's so front. Instead of stages, it's stages. There's so much more goodness in that front part of the mask when you're singing in that tone. Thunderstorm.
Okay. Give me love. Oh.
Ew.
Slow.
Sing. Thunderstorm. This was absolutely gorgeous. This dude is so freaking well spoken. Producer was like, do you not get the sense of competition? Because he was like, man, everyone's awesome. This is awesome. And she said, do you not get the sense of competition? And he goes, it's not that I don't feel the sense of competition. I was just raised to look at music a little differently. Buddy, homie is singing my song. I love that so much. And then it went to his family, and the fact that he's gone through significant loss, losing his dad, the fact that he has what seems to be a wonderful marriage with great kids and just this family life, and had a huge family growing up, all makes sense to me when I see how emotionally cognizant he is, how aware and intelligent and rich his emotional life is with people, with interviewers, with the words that come out of his mouth that are birthed from brilliant thoughts in his head, to gorgeous songs that come out. And that's what we have here. Again, he said something in his interview, said when his dad died, he built up walls to protect himself, but they ended up being a prison. He said, walls were a prison, not allowing me to feel what I need to feel. And I've come to this conclusion from this episode with Thunderstorm, and then Sonny actually later says something about this. I think there is a massive, massive difference, this level that is completely unlocked in performers when they have emotional richness and depth and cognizance in their day-to-day life outside of music. There's nobody who can tell a story like Thunderstorm when he's telling the story about his wife and his kids and things that he's gone through in his life that he cares about, because he's so emotionally connected. He's not just singing the right notes and singing the melody, playing the right chords, doing things that sound good. The dude is fully attached to the story of the song and the worth and value of what it can bring. That's why he is who he is, and that's how he sounds like he sounds. There's a lyric there that says, "You ever get the feeling of falling apart? You can." Dude reads Brené Brown. Like that is so good. You are wrapped up in every word that comes out of his mouth when he sings. Now, I will say, if I had one critique, and it's like a barely critique, is a personal preference. When he gets up into his higher range, it gets pretty thin, and it's cool, and it's a vibe, and it's a tone, and that could be part of his artistry that he keeps forever and makes him a superstar. But I'd be interested to work with him and see what it would sound like if he gave a little more support, and instead of like closing the nozzle, if you will, to make that shrill, high, shrill is a harsh word, but that sharper tone, what if you open that a little bit more, push some more air through, and made that tone a little bigger instead of kind of high and shrill at the top? What would it sound like if we went to a oh instead of oh? What would it sound like? I'd be curious to know. Cruise.
And if being free is worth what?
All right, I'm slowly starting to like Cruise more and more. When he said, "I'm nervous like a cat in a room full of rocking chairs," you know, there's just some great humor quality that come with the good old country boys with all those sayings that you just can't get anywhere else. He says, "I try to leave a piece of me on every stage I sing." Goals. I hope that's more than just a phrase. I hope he means that. And I feel like he does when he's singing. However, he's just under these top notes. Whenever he's going up to the peak of the melody, he's hanging out just underneath. He needs to get up on his toes, if you will, vocally, and just reach on up there. That's really just a mental thing. Bailey Luttrell.
Oh, I've tried to find.
Sings "Hey Jesus." I love Bailey from his audition. This was actually a massive risk, because most people say, wow, that was a risk because it's like a big song. I don't see those as a risk as long as you can pull them off. The risk that I see here is he decided to do a ballad, very straight down the middle, something that was meaningful to him, which is huge. In a situation where you're going from like 200, 250 people to 62, you gotta stand out. And he sings a very middle of the road song just by himself on guitar. And he got through with it, but that's not gonna work next cut. It's not gonna work over and over and over again, in my opinion. I love Bailey. He's one of my favorites. I wasn't into this song. This performance didn't draw me. Carson Webb.
Why do I talk myself out of seeing miracles?
He sings More Than Able, elevation song, and he tries to do the runs. He's like, I'm singing an elevation song. It's very gospel-esque, this song, And he's like, I gotta do the Philo thing. I gotta do the Kanan thing, the Colby thing, the Jameer thing, all these runners and soulful singers. And I felt like he was trying to do these runs. And when he tried to do those runs, he sounded not good. He was missing them fully. The moment he stopped trying to do those runs and was singing from his heart and singing what he's good at, which is big belting notes, it's like, aha, that's why he chose this song. That's why he's on American Idol. That's why he's made it through this far. And that's why he's great. What a great singer. And then we try to be something else that we think we're supposed to be. And then all of a sudden it's like, if you didn't want us to compare, well, now we're absolutely comparing and you're outside of your element. It is so common with singers to do this, and it is a tragedy. And I feel like this is what Carson did. Maddie. Ew. Man, we have a line of singers that are like, this is good singer, this is a good singer, this is a good singer. And then Maddie comes up. Every once in a while you get that singer that just recalibrates your whole idea of what good is. She is that singer. She starts to sing and her tone, just the noise that comes out of her mouth, is so rich and beautiful and emotional. Where she places her tone is so forward, kind of like Shay. That connected, not mumbly, but all the way forward to the front of the mask of the face is so pleasant. And it's edgy, but it's not nasally. And she's really, like Luke said, dragging notes out, doing some really cool techniques that are almost like the best guitar player you've ever heard. How they go, she's singing like that and doing these drags across these notes and bends on the notes where she's in between and bending up and coming down. And it's so tasteful and so perfectly placed. She's one of the best singers of the season. Josh King.
I don't care about the things I could lose.
Let me just say, lounge music rocks. Lounge music, if that's like Billy Joel and jazz and Elton John, sign me up for lounge music and lounge music concerts. Lounge music is not a cuss word. His tone and technique is great. Like, okay, let me remind you guys of my bias. He is a student of mine, so I do have bias. And I have some information on him that you guys might not know, meaning I've heard him sing a lot and I know his voice more than what's been shown on the show and his ability. And homie can play the harmonica, and you saw it here. Like, it's not just a, oh cool, harmonica. It's like, bro, play that thing. Like soulful, 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 really talented harmonica player. And I hope that thing comes out often, almost like Taylor Hicks did. One critique I do have with Josh is I think he needs to walk through his runs. He's kind of throwing runs and seeing notes. When you sing a run, you don't want to see the run as a compilation of notes in one unit offered to the room. You want to think of each individual note. So instead of, whoa, you want to think of, whoa, whoa. And then instead of throwing it, whoa, think of it as, whoa. Each individual note has its own place and value. And most of the time, that also looks like singing it slower. It'll hit harder. And people will receive each note as like a combo punch from a boxer instead of just, whoa. Carrie said, if you would have done that in your audition, you would have gotten 3 yeses. And I was thinking, he did that in his audition. But then she said, you've got such a sweet demeanor. I'm like, that's what's new for her. Maybe, just speculating, maybe in his audition, he seemed a little too sure of himself, or maybe he came across as arrogant. And then now, in Hollywood Week, she sees him for who he is, this quirky, lovable, charming kid that is really talented and loves people, which is facts, can confirm. and is just happy to be there and has the right spirit of things. You put that with an incredibly talented performance, now you're in love with them, and now you're going to say yes for Carrie or for other people in America or the industry in general. That's why personality and likability is so important. It's all connected, and he's very likable, and he's showing that very well. Amanda Baris.
Each word was a pain in my heart.
Amanda is the perfect example of someone who can do all things vocally, but knows how to drive the car that she is gifted with. The best analogy I know for singing is you have your engine, you have your vehicle, your car, which is your capability and your voice, your vocal talent, and then you are the one who drives it. There are a lot of people with Formula One racing car engines who cannot drive. And they just, right when they start to go for it, they just run straight into a wall over and over and over again. They get a straightaway and they're pretty impressive, but that's it. Then you have people who have Toyota Camry engines, eco engines, but they are world-class drivers. They might not have the most talented voice, but they can use it in a way that will destroy you. Amanda has a Formula One racing engine, and she's a Formula One race car driver. She's an expert world-class driver with an expert world-class instrument and vehicle. And she never, this is what makes the difference between phenomenal drivers and not great drivers. She never, ever steps outside of the umbrella that is her capability vocally. You think, it's like, well, it's because she can do everything. No. We are not aliens. We all have limitations. We cannot sing for infinity, range, or runs. There are limits. The difference is, although her limits are who knows because she's so good, we don't know where they are because she doesn't show them to us. That is the difference between a world-class driver and an average driver or a bad driver. When you're a great driver, you don't almost crash. She walks through every run with care, like I was talking about before. Every note is on purpose. If you can't do a run slowly, you can't do it at all, which means if you don't know every note that's coming out and you're not doing it on purpose and you can't do that run. I guarantee you she could walk through note for note everything that comes out of her mouth because everything is intentional. She is doing a masterclass in how to sing. Drew.
It's all in my head. It's all in my mind.
I actually didn't like this performance much. I thought her strength in the audition was her belting and her chorus part of the song. And in this one, I thought the verse wasn't getting me. And then the chorus came and that wasn't getting me either. I thought that top note, I think the vowel was an E and she just kind of opened it up into an A, which is like typically what happens when you are yelling instead of like mixing or belting with good technique. And it just sounded a little shouty to me. And I was surprised. I bet, if I had to guess, she does great in the next round. And I bet she does great in the next round and then makes top 24 because they're showing her a lot. And she's really, really talented. So even though this wasn't great, she made it through, right? Did she make it through? Oh my gosh, question mark. I'm pretty sure she made it through. If she did, I think she's going to kill it later. And this was just not as strong of a performance, even though the judges seem to love it. Gabby Simone, we see her for a second.
I'm going down, 'cause you ain't been around, baby.
Almost as an example of like, wow, here's a great singer that intimidates everyone. And then we go into Sam and him talking about like, wow, it's crazy. All these singers are amazing. She is a good example of that. She has a Maserati as an engine. She does have some pitch issues here and there. Her runs are razor sharp clean and her technique and belting is powerhouse to the max. Sam Sparks.
When the train keeps rolling on down to San Antonio.
Took a little bit to find the melody in the beginning. I really liked his candor, his just, oh, there it is, or here we go, you guys ready? Like all that just felt so comfortable to listen to, and I felt like we were figuring it out together. Where even when he was trying to find himself in the song, I was fine with it. Like, I'm like, yeah, man, we can do it. Let's find this journey here. Oh, there it is. All right. I was rooting for him. I thought he did way better here than he did in his audition. The All My Blues Away, the very last line of the song, was awesome. Let's talk about Isaiah, Samoan Silk.
Don't you know I lose control?
I thought Isaiah was way better here too. In his audition, it was a little bit of look what I can do runs. This one, he didn't just sound silky. His stage presence was pure silk. He was comfortable. He was relaxed in the face. It sounded like he was just telling a really cool story just to me, just he and I. The runs that he chose were so nice. His tone is great. He was super confident and just relaxed, and it goes a long way. He had one, look at me, look what I can do run, in my opinion. That was just like, that did nothing but try to impress some people, which, again, is the counterfeit of the value of what music offers. Landon.
Whoa, got my heart.
I love Landon. He's singing this song, and everything that comes out of his mouth, I believe, and I think he's going through the thing he's singing about. We just see him for a second, but there's a ton of soul and meaning. Not just soul as in like soulful flair or style, but I feel like I am visualizing the content of his soul when I'm hearing him sing and I'm watching him sing. That is hard to do, and he does it very well. Then we have Jamal Roberts.
And as you cried in my arms, you woke up my heart.
Jamal might have put himself on the map as like top 5, like superstar of the season for me. He's totally under control. He's confident. Looks like he's been here a long time. Looks like he's been doing this for a while. Sounds and acts when he's singing just like Jamie Foxx, which is awesome. Very settled and relaxed. Every single run, he meant it. There was no sense of check this note out. There's no sense of check this one out, this run out. Every bit of his voice that came out was to serve the song and meaning, so much so that even when he missed the runs, no one cared. When they got a little sloppy or a little bit of taking the slide instead of the stairs, no one cared. Why? Because the goal is not to have perfect runs. The goal is to emote and tell the story. And that's what he did. And I was wrapped around his little finger when he was singing. Sonny Tennant.
Don't make me close one more door.
I talked about this with Thunderstorm, but I think Sonny has a secret cheat code to performing because of his emotional connection, emotional depth to his normal life, his emotional cognizance. And I say this because he mentions it real fast, but he said that he was raised by 2 powerful women, and he says he's grateful for that because he wasn't afraid to share his emotions and cry when he needed to, and was just an emotional, healthy kid. I paraphrase because I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something to that regard that made me think, aha, that's why he just gives us something different than anyone else when he sings, because there's emotional connection in his normal life. I had a student one time that I was trying to communicate this to on how important it was. And he's singing this song, and I was like, have you ever lost someone? He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, did that person have a wife? He's like, yeah. How's she doing? He's like, not so good. I was like, okay. What if this song was being sung to her from him? And the song was like, basically like, it's gonna be okay, I'll be with you even when I'm gone, kind of a thing. And I was like, can you imagine him singing that to her, or her receiving that to him? Can you do that? And I was getting emotional talking to him about it. And then he just started laughing. He's like, oh, I can't imagine. Like he doesn't sing well or something like that. I'm like, man, you just couldn't go there, could you? Couldn't dive in to that emotional depth of, grieving and connection. You couldn't do it. That is not a problem with Thunderstorm or Sunny. And I think that's what makes a huge difference. Sunny does great, as he always does. I wasn't quite locked in as I was in the audition to this song. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because late in the show, but it wasn't quite as locked in and fangirling over this performance, even though it was fantastic. I'd give it a 9 out of 10 rather than a 10, but I always expect a 10 from him. Victor Solomon.
Mom's hands pick me up each time I fail. Grandma's hands.
I don't know why. He sounds great, but didn't do anything for me. I don't know if it's because we'd heard so many great singers at this point. We're like, look, another one. But the runs and the tone, when I'd already heard 7 other singers offer the same thing, just didn't do anything for me. And it goes back, not to be a broken record, but goes back to what are you communicating, not just what do you sound like. And I think also part of it, to get a little technical, was some of the notes that he chose were like gospel, turn your head notes. Like, just, oh, what was that note? But the song doesn't call for that. The song is very pentatonic, very straight down the middle, very, very not gospel jazz notes. And he was given it to kind of just, again, look what I can do. And I am so not interested in that world. Otherwise, the dude was perfect. He didn't miss a note. Sounded great, but I don't know. A lot of people sound great. Slater.
Promise time don't mean a thing. It's just a word people use.
This was really impressive. And I was really excited to see that Slater showed us a side of him that we didn't know he had. Bigger range, a better voice than we thought he had, and a great songwriter. It's one thing to take lyrics, to take a poem that someone has already written and put melody to it. It's another thing to be the one that writes the lyrics and the melody and the chords, and he did this at 15. This self-awareness of a 15-year-old to write a song about himself called Foolish Pride. Like, I love you, boy, if you just get rid of that foolish pride. What the heck, dude? Again, talk about emotional cognizance and awareness. And the dude was singing, just like giving us more than we thought he had. And it's good to see that he wasn't just a flash in the pan of this beautiful, heartbreaking, but redeeming story of Carter and singing for him and in his memory. He has a lot in the tank and a lot to offer. Next week is Showstoppers. So this is how it's going to go. I think I said this last week, but let me clarify. We're going to do, so when it's Sunday night, the episode for that Sunday night of Idol Breakdown will come out on Wednesday. Then I'm going to give my editor 2 days instead of an immediate turnaround to edit the next one. So you are watching this right now on Friday night. So the Idol Breakdown, as long as there are 2 episodes a week of American Idol, will be on Wednesday night at 7 and Friday night at 7 Central Time. Come into the live stream after the premiere and you'll get a live Q&A with me. Hear how live Q&As work. If you're a member of the Groove Crew, if you're not, you can hit join at the bottom of this video. You can ask me any questions you want and I'll answer them. If you're not a member and you don't want to commit yet, but you want to ask a question, you can. You just have to send it in a super chat and then I'll answer that question. Otherwise, we'll just kind of talk and hang out. And then I'll see you guys next week. This is a good season. I'm excited to see how this turns out.